is aware about server and workstation? Server?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So server, you are aware? You know, server,
Yes,
what
sir.
is server?
Yes, sir.
So I'm just asking so that on that case I can explain. So people, anybody who did not know what is server? What do you know? What is the difference between your workstation, means desktop, laptop, and server? Are you
No,
aware?
sir.
Okay, because once you start working in the company, right, you'll see the word server, the application server is down, right? You see on website, the server is down currently. What is that server about? Which server is down? Yes or no, you heard this word? And you see this particular component device is installed on the server. This software is installed on the server, right? So what is the server? It is not your like your workstation that you have desktop or laptop, or how it is different from your workstation, desktop, laptop, right? You know what happens? Let's have a quick understanding. Little more understanding, not quick, little more understanding. Do you know what is operating system? What is the use of operating system? Achha, you tell me what is which operating system you have?
Windows.
Windows.
Windows
Windows.
11.
Windows, Linux.
Windows 11.
Windows.
These are operating system. Why we call them operating system?
The system operates.
Sir, it is an interface between hardware
User and
components
machine.
and the user.
Hardware and
Hardware components and the user.
this is the interface between the hardware and user. Yes
User
or no?
and machine.
User and hardware, right? So
Yeah.
this is, you can see on the book. Same definition you gone through in the book. It is interface between the hardware, software, or hardware and user, right? It's an interface, right? But
You have made it
do we actually understand? Have you actually understood how it is, right? Let me tell you that. In, for example, you have some machines, right? For example, you have some physical machine, some physical motor you have, right? In physical motors, there are multiple component, hardware components, right? If you want to start motor, right? So either you have a button, right? You click and motor will get installed, start, right? And you have different functionality to do this. You turn on this button or you do something by your hand. Yes or no? Because in this physical, there's a big motor. All the functionalities are physically present. You can see them and you can actually operate them. You can actually operate them, right? Manually in this motor, in this physical machine, right? So it's a big machine. Whatever feature you have, you can see them physically, right? So this is the hardware, right? Similarly, in computer, you can see in this motor or this machine, only some activities are happening. Like you can see in the mechanical production company, you'll have big machines, right? Big machines. You can actually see them how they are functioning. Yes or no? Physically see them how they are functioning, right? If you want to do some different function, you can change physically. But in your computer, you understand so many functions are happening. Yes, sir. So many activities you can perform, but the machine is very small. Just you can see the processor, motherboard, you can see inside the computer. You can see motherboard. Inside it has PCB and all different capacitor and different like you have a processor, RAM and everything, right? So all the process is happening here. Get it, mind? Get it, mind? So if in machine, if you want to do different activity, you can go and operate manually. But in this small hardware, if you want to copy paste, for example, some file copy and paste, can you open CPU unit? Okay, let me change from this to copy and paste. Let me transfer. Oh, I want to transfer file from here to here. Here to somewhere. Let me transfer from here to here. Can you do that? You cannot do that, right? Yes or no? This small chip motherboard that you have all the functionality inside can do a lot of work. You understand, right? But we cannot see them physically. We cannot operate them physically because we cannot see here physically what, because this small chip has a lot of functionality. We cannot see and operate them physically. Yes or no? Then to operate this and see which all feature we have operating system, right? So this is there on the hardware. This you can see in your, for example, your desktop, you have the CPU unit in desktop, right? On which inside you have motherboard, you have resources such as memory, CPU, hard disk, right? So here, this forms the hardware machinery, right? Now, in order to operate this hardware, we have operating system. In this operating system now, what are the functionalities having this machine can perform? You can see those functionality on the operating system. You want to copy paste? Then once you do copy and paste, command you perform, actually the command is being sent to your hardware and hardware will run that command. But since we cannot see this button here, we are doing it through operating system. Yes or no? So whatever we are doing actually is being run on the hardware. But since we cannot see those functions physically, that's the reason we have this operating system where we can see different functionality here. That means once you click whatever activity do, actually the activity is being performed on the hardware. So that is the reason you are here. That's the reason we call as operating system is an interface between user and hardware. It's an interface. Whatever functionality is having, we can perform using the operating system, right? So operating system now, since we have different vendors, like you have bike, you have Bajaj, you have you have Honda, right? You have Entizer, you have Enfield. Yes or no? Functionality is same, bring you from source to destination only, but some accessories, some little different features. Yes or no? But your operating system cannot have any feature which your hardware doesn't support. Yes or no? If you add some different feature which hardware does not have functionality, you cannot do that. Yes or no? So what happens is there are different vendors, different companies which have developed this operating system. Like Microsoft said that we have developed operating system that you can use to operate this hardware. Yes or no? So now you can install in this machine, you can install Microsoft Windows OS, right? Now there are different vendor. Linux also you have, and Linux also different vendors. Linux is again an operating system, right? Now instead of Windows, you can install Linux. What you can do activities using Windows, similar activities you can do the Linux. Just the feature is different, like way of doing mechanism may be different. Mostly Linux we use command line, directly we run the command. In the backend, it is command only. Yes or no? The instructions are being sent to this motherboard, the processing unit, using the commands only. But in Windows desktop, you have some functionality, you can see that manually, and backend it will run through command. Similarly, Windows, you have different operating system such as Linux, right, Mac. These all are operating system which are actually going to operate this hardware. Get it, point? Now you can see workstation operating system as well as server operating system. Server we call if we have installed server operating system. If we have installed workstation such as your Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows 11, these are workstation operating system. And for example, Windows Server 2008, 2012, 2016, 19, 21, 23, these are server operating system. So what is the difference between Windows 10 and Server 2012, 2016, 2019 Windows? What is the difference? What happens is, generally, see, laptop, desktop, hardware has been designed to use for personal use, daily office use or personal use, not to deploy any software or application which has to be accessed by number of users. Get I mean? So if you want to deploy any software, it required more features. On the operating system, it required more features. While for normal use, it required less features. So if you deploy Windows 7, Windows 10, and if you deploy Windows 2012 server, the desktop and all will look like the same. But in server operating system, you will have more features which we can use to host any application. Get it, mind? But in desktop operating system, you have limited feature which are required for daily use, for your personal use, for company daily office perspective, but not to host the application, not to host any application, or to allow number of users to access it. Right? So your server operating system will have more functionality compared to your workstation operating system. You will not believe, you may not be aware that in your laptop desktop also, instead of Windows 7, Windows 8 or 10, 11, you can also deploy, instead of that operating system, you can deploy server operating system also. Windows 2012, Windows 16, 19, or any server operating system also you can deploy, and you can see more functionality. But from desktop laptop perspective, not required, because if you deploy server, it has more feature and it will use more resources, such as memory, CPU, and your disk. You want to use normal purpose, that's the reason you go for lightweight operating systems such as Windows 10, Windows 11, Windows 7, 8, and all. You understand? So operating system is nothing, so that we can perform the activities on the hardware that you call as operating system. Yes or no? How you do the activity. Your food is, you eat food, right? And you get the energy. Yes or no? Now, in order to run this machinery hardware, it also requires some resources which can use to perform the activities. The food for this hardware, computer hardware, is there are three things which gives the energy to this hardware that we call as resources, right? In this hardware in computer, there are three resources which makes your system fast, or which make your system to run, which are required to run your system, right? First is RAM, or in short we call it memory. In short, we call as memory. Second is CPU, or we call as processor. What we call as processor. And third is disk or storage. Disk or storage. Storage means disk. Storage means here we will have disk. Understand? Now, what is the use of RAM? You understand, right? If you have less, generally you go in the you want to buy the laptop. Some people are not aware. Either you know that, but if you go over more GB RAM, your mobile or your computer will be fast, right? But you're not aware how come 4 GB RAM system works slow and 8 GB RAM system work fast, or more application you can install and run if you have 8 GB RAM compared to 4 GB. How the RAM is being utilized? What role RAM plays on your system? For example, this is your system, Windows system, right? You have 20 applications installed. You can see this storage means disk. Your hard drive, SSD is a storage, right? Means all the data will be stored on the hard drive or SSD, whatever storage you have, right? So, whenever you shut down your system, RAM usage will be zero. RAM usage will be zero. And all your data applications are actually stored on the storage, that means disk. Once you turn on your system, any application you launch, you understand, sometime whenever you turn on the system, for example, once you open the Google Chrome, for example, if your system is having a hard drive, right? Once you open the Google Chrome, it may take some time. Or once you turn on your system, immediately you can't open any application. It takes few moments to run any application and to make your system ready, to make it to be usable. Why? Because when you shut down your system, all the applications are being saved on the hard drive or storage. Once you turn it on, right? Once you open application, right? It actually stored on the RAM. Google Chrome you open. Once you first time you open, it takes some time because it is retrieving the application from the hard drive, from your storage. So retrieval time is more because it actually stored on the hard drive. So once you open, so it takes few moments. Instead of that, if you have SSD, solid state drive, which is coming now latest laptop, SSD 100 times faster. The laptop which are coming with SSD takes less retrieval time. Now, if you open the Google Chrome which having SSD, it will open faster than hard drive. But still, it will take few moments to launch. But once you already launch, whatever you work you do, it will be very fast. Because once you shut down the application, it will be stored on the storage. Once you launch, open the application, it will store temporarily on the RAM. That is the reason RAM is also called as runtime memory. Because while application is running, whatever activity you are doing, whatever data or anything you stored, it will be actually stored on the RAM. Once you close the application, then the data will be stored on the storage. More the application you open, more it will hold on the RAM, because while application is running, for example, you have one application which have 300 MB of size. One application you downloaded which have 300 MB of size. Get it, mean? Once you launch that application, it will hold on the RAM, then it will take 300 MB of RAM to hold the application. Get in mind? So now you see, now you must be aware that previously when we have mobile, 2 GB RAM, 1 GB RAM, we used to use them. That time application size was small, less, because those applications had less functionality that time, and size was also less. We have 2 GB, 1 GB, 2 GB. Now application which are latest coming will have more functionality and their size is also big. So if application is size is more, once you launch that application, it will take more space on the RAM, means more RAM utilization. Yes or no? Once you install any application, if size is more, you should understand application does not take only hard disk, only storage. While it will run, it will occupy that much RAM also. Yes or no? So if you, for example, if you have 4 GB of RAM, you will run application 300 GB, 300 MB, it will work fine. Some other application also, you run some other application, if it reach around 4 GB, your system will become hang or may start working slow. If you open more and more application, it may go in the hang state and sometimes it got restart automatically. Yes or no? Because someone who has that much of capacity, right? If we put more load. Yes or no? So that is the reason if you want to install such application which have higher size, which is running all the time, should have more RAM. That's the reason nowadays, oh, we want 8 GB RAM, we want 12 GB RAM, we want 16 GB RAM, because I'm running some gaming applications. Gaming applications have a lot of functionality and more size, that require more GB of RAM. Understand? So RAM is runtime memory. If your system is running slow, then you can check it out what application is running. So you can turn off those applications, close those applications, because in the application there are multiple ways. So one is you start the application manually, or many of the applications are set to start automatically as a service. In mobile, you do not see service name, but when you select automatic start, that means it started as a service. So when you turn on your mobile, those applications will launch automatically. Similarly, on your system also, there are many applications which will turn on automatically as a service. You not see, there are many, for example, your audio driver, video driver, right? There are many other services. You want to take the remote access, remote RDP services will start automatically. Do you think that once you turn on your mobile, system, if you want to have a video call, do you need to turn on camera? No, right? Do you need to turn on mic? No, right? It gets started automatically. Those are also applications, but they have set to start automatically. Apart from that, there's some other software which you install and customize, but they have set to start automatically. For example, WhatsApp, your Facebook Messenger. your face application. Now what is more and more applications which are coming, which are running on the background automatically. So we have many such software installed which run on the background. That means those are running, means occupying the RAM. Yes or no? So you can set on, if your desktop is running slow, right? Maybe one of the reason is memory utilization, right? There is a resource, there is an option called as task manager. If you are aware, we call as task manager. On taskbar, I mean below of your, you can right click and option task manager. You open the task manager and see your memory utilization, CPU utilization, and disk utilization. Click on memory utilization and check which application is eating more memory. If any unnecessary application which is running that you don't use right now and using more memory, you can right now and end task. Once you do the end task, the application will get closed. Because the many of the applications are running on the background, we can't see on the desktop. But those are actually running, we can see it using the task manager. You can right click and kill the process. That means you turn off that application and release the RAM. Understand? You understand the use of RAM? So so let me tell about the difference between your server hardware and your desktop. Your desktop or laptop has been designed for normal personal use. It has less RAM, 4 GB, 8 GB, 16 GB, 32 GB maximum, right? But in the servers, we deploy, for example, Facebook application deploy on the server. Any corporate application which required to access by outside user, many users, though, and is required to run 24/7. We use server. Yes or no? Server have more application. Server applications have more functionality as well as hardware capability is also more. This hardware of server on which we deploy a server, it is not same as your desktop. Same means having higher capability, higher capacity, and some more functions which require it to run 24/7. And of course, in server, we deploy applications which have the higher size and should run all the time. That is the reason in server, you need more memory. Get it going? And as soon as you require, you add more resources, add more data, or do some other activities, data will be stored. And once the application will run, the data is available in the RAM. Yes or no? So RAM size will be more and more. As soon as you work more in the application, store more data, more and more memory utilization. Yes or no? Understand? So, so that is the reason. That is the reason in the server will have more memory. More, for example, in our server we have around 280 GB of memory. 280 GB of memory. You can see your typical laptop having 4 GB memory, RAM. Our server, we have 280 GB of RAM. You can divide by 4. 28 means 70 laptop. 4 GB RAM के 70 laptop के बराबर it has capacity equal to 70 laptop, right? We cannot increase this much in a laptop because laptop has been designed for personal use, while server has been designed for enterprise, for application deployment. That's the capability to increase more and more. That is the difference between the server hardware and your workstation hardware. Understand the use of RAM? Do you understand what purpose we are increasing the RAM? Yes or no? Now, what is the use of CPU? Processor. Generally, the processor which are coming on your desktop laptop, it has 4 core, 2 core, dual core, or quad core. Yes or no? More the core, more the system will be fast processor. CPU, the processor. CPU, central processing unit, right? And so what we call it processor. Processor means which does the task, which perform the activities. You want to copy and paste, okay? It's a task, right? You want to transfer the data, it's a task. Yes or no? You want to access the website, the browser is doing task, right? Whenever you perform any task, it is being performed by the processor. Copy, paste, forwarding, receiving, right? These are tasks. Yes or no? So any of the application performing many tasks will use more CPU. Yes or no? Understand? So, for example, in your SIM, you have SIM console, right? If more and more the user will log in and search, more and more searches will do, means again a task, more and more CPU utilization. Yes or no? More and more user will log in and create some resource dashboard, report. This will schedule the report. Yes or no? Resources they will create. Now it will run on the RAM. More and more RAM utilization. That's the reason whenever we deploy any corporate application, it suggests what is the minimum RAM required to run the application, what is the minimum CPU cores required based on the size of the application, that much RAM, as well as based on the usage in future. More the usage, more the RAM, more the CPU. You understand? Use of RAM and CPU. And your storage, it depends on how long you want to hold the data or how much data you want to hold based on that. Sometime when your storage is full, that time also system will be unstable. So it will not be able to hold any data, right? Get in mind, if you hold more data on the RAM, but you don't have storage, yes or no, to hold, what will happen about the data? So system will go hang. So there are three reasons. Majority of the reason is RAM and CPU. When you see system is slow, sorry, 10:05 ho gaya. Last 2 minutes. When you see your system is slow, right? Either memory utilization is high or CPU utilization high. In some cases, in memory utilization 100%, 90%, that hard disk utilization, that time also you see the system is slow, right? So whenever system is slow, mostly we refer CPU and memory. So we refer what task is eating more and more CPU, more memory. If anything we have configured more EPU, more memory, we can kill those tasks or we can disable those applications which are eating more memory. Understand? Now you'll be able to understand how much RAM you require in the system, how much CPU required. Clear? Clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
Sir.
So we'll wind up for the day. We'll connect tomorrow at the same time.